He's a Midwesterner. He's probably like William H. Macy in Fargo.
Okay.
Well, I'm just trying to get all this flour scooped up so we don't have a gosh darn dust explosion.
I can't imagine your autopsy report. Death by
dust explosion.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the explosion part that gets you, not the flour that's around.
But what's exploding? Just the flour, right? So it's so weird and odd and sciencey.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Wiki University, the podcast where we dive down the rabbit hole of Wikipedia to explore the sum of all human knowledge. I'm your professor, Kyle Berseth, and as always, I'm joined by our number one partier on campus, Jheisson Nunez.
Number one, baby. Number one partier? I'm Ichiban partier?
Are you not?
I mean, I wish I would get like a notice superlative like the most studious.
Well, that was a test, Jheisson. You never want number one partier. You pass.
Oh, great. That's the first exam of the season.
Oh, yeah. You might have a pop quiz coming your way. See what you've learned.
Everyone knows that 2 semesters is 1 full season of school, right?
Is that right?
Yeah.
2 semesters equals 1 full season of school?
Yeah.
All right.
I've completed 2 seasons of school so far.
Oh, wow. I've taught 2 seasons of school.
Hey, good for you.
How about that? It's like we've been doing this together.
A little bit. Well, guys, thank you guys so much for coming along this amazing ride once again. First and foremost, I have to remind you, please like and review us on Spotify podcast or Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, and we'll be getting some YouTube videos up very shortly.
We got some Instagram videos already up.
Follow us on Instagram.
They're up and running. They're kicking.
We're going to head over to TikTok pretty soon. I mean, it's going to be overwhelming where you can find us.
Yeah, you can find us wherever the Chinese can find us, and they'll find us on TikTok.
That's everywhere. All right. Well,
let's get started with today's lesson, Kyle.
Oh, please. I don't need you to run the ship here. Jheisson, let's get started with today's lesson.
Oh, you're running the ship now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
What's your topic today?
My topic for today, it's a fun one.
Okay.
I feel like it's going to be a fun one. My topic for today is the Mad Gasser of Mattoon.
Huh.
Have you ran across this article in your past?
Well, as the professor, I know just about everything, but no, I've never heard of this.
Okay. Well, let me tell you a little bit about it.
All right. Don't spoil.
Very, very little bit about it.
Okay.
As far as I can tell, it's pretty much a terrorist attack with gases that was unsolved. I believe it's unsolved.
Whoa, you gotta say spoiler alert if you're gonna just hop to the end.
Well, I didn't hop to the end hasn't happened yet. It's unsolved.
Well, maybe we're gonna become one of those podcasts that starts solving mysteries.
Yeah, like all the award-winning podcasts do.
Yeah,
I feel like nowadays that's their aim now. Let's open up a cold case.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk to some victims. Let's get the FBI. Let's get what's it called? Let's go viral. So then the police have to do something about it.
So I don't think my topic is that far away from yours. Mine is, as you know,
Geographically?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my topic is science related, but as you know, I don't do science words so well.
Right. No, that's aside from water, it's your kryptonite.
My kryptonite. Yeah, exactly. So instead, I found a story that's related to the science words.
Okay.
Which I'm much better at pronouncing. Just basic stories.
Basic story words.
Yeah. Basic story
words.
words. Not great at formulating sentence words, but story words?
Yeah.
Right in my wheelhouse. So my topic is called the Great Mill Disaster.
Ooh, the Great Mill Disaster.
Great Mill Disaster, yeah. And it started because of a dust explosion. Now that's the sciencey. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Dust explosion?
All I can like conjure up in my head is like a bomb of dust. And isn't that just a gender reveal?
Oh, yeah. And
powder?
That's a forest fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that what they do with the powder?
They do
blue,
a poof.
pink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all I think of when I think of
have a dust explosion
in your nose.
Yeah, I was about to sneeze. Oh, boy.
Bless you ahead of time.
Oh, what if it catches fire?
I think you're supposed to get...
Don't tickle my pits.
Is that not... I think you're supposed to when you're about to sneeze.
No, no, don't ever stick your finger in my pits.
Sorry.
You're lucky I just showered.
What's the other thing? When you're about to
supposed
sneeze, you
look
look at light.
Yeah.
To do what? Stop it or make it go? Make it happen?
To make it happen, I think. I think they say
That's
look
right,
at the sun.
because you don't want to stop it.
I think it gets you to look up, which maybe that opens up your nose or something.
Yeah, that opens up your nose.
I don't know. This is again.
Nose open, nose closed.
We're not good at
Nose
science.
open, nose closed.
You better be careful. You're gonna have a dust explosion out of your nose.
That's true.
Anyway, my
I hope
topic
it's not white dust.
is the Great Mill Disaster. Oddly enough, you say you hope it's not white dust. This took place in a flour factory.
Ooh, the whitest of dusts.
Yes, the whitest of dusts.
And I always forget what mills do. I just always picture the little...
Oh, yeah, we talked about this.
Right.
I would say, generally speaking, mills process things.
Okay, like General Mills.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Cereal. They process wheat into cereal
right.
or grain into cereal or flour into cereal. And this took place in Minneapolis, which is known for flour production.
Yeah?
Yeah, maybe not so much anymore, but now they're just known for Target. But back in the day...
That's the birthplace of Target?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wow, we're learning a lot.
Yeah, I just don't know. I never really looked into Minneapolis.
Minneapolis?
Minneapolis?
Minneapolis. Yeah. So where do you want to start here, Jason? We could start at the Mad Gasser of Mattoon. So mine takes place May 2nd, 1878. The Mad Gasser was around during the mid-1940s.
Okay.
So I don't think these things are that far apart.
Time-wise.
Well, they're also both in the Midwest. It's odd that we pick topics both in the Midwest. Usually, we're coastal elites here at WikiU.
I would say it's serendipitous that we chose two topics close to each other.
All right, so where do you want to start here, Jason?
Let's go with the professor's choice.
All right, let's start with the Great Mill Disaster, since that's further back in time, and we'll go forward in time.
I always like going forward.
All right. The Great Mill Disaster, also known as the Washburn A Mill explosion, occurred in Minneapolis, Minnesota, United States in 1878. The disaster resulted in 18 deaths. The explosion occurred on the evening of Thursday, May 2nd, 1878, when an accumulation of flour dust inside the Washburn A Mill, which was the largest mill in the world at the time, led to a dust explosion that killed 14 workers inside the mill. The resulting fire destroyed several nearby mills and killed a further 4 mill workers. The destruction seriously impacted the city's productive capacity for flour, which was a major industry in the city at the time. Following the blast, look at this name. I'll tell it to you. Cadwallader C. Washburn, the mill's owner. His first name is Cadwallader.
Weird.
He goes by Cad, right?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Or Wally. Ooh, I'd take Wally over Cad.
I feel like Wally, if he's a nice, jolly kind of boss.
He's a Midwesterner. He's probably like William H. Macy in Fargo.
Okay.
Well, I'm just trying to get all this flour scooped up so we don't have a gosh darn dust explosion.
I can't imagine your autopsy report of like death by
dust explosion.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the explosion part that gets you, not the flour that's around.
So wait, what's exploding? Just the flour, right? So
yeah.
I'm just saying, like it's so weird and odd and sciencey.
I know we do have to dive into the science a little bit.
Even though it's so small, like yes, it's small. One won't do anything, but a billion
it's like
thrown at you,
little shrapnel
at an explosion speed would tear you apart.
If
right, I mean,
I don't know.
One bee sting, it's like ow, right? But you'll live. you get attacked by a swarm. Weren't we just talking about that? Even though you're not going to get attacked by swarms.
Yeah.
If you were to get attacked by a
If
swarm.
you had a bunch of bees shot at you.
Yes. By a bee shotgun.
A bee cannon.
Then you'd probably die after how many, especially people who are allergic to bees aside. Like a normal, regular, healthy human being.
Yeah.
They would have to get
80 stings, I guess.
Right. And after that, you're passing out. Like you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like the great Macaulay Culkin in My Girl 2?
No, I don't think he made it to the second one because he died from a bee sting in the first one. Spoiler alert.
That's right. Who's in the second one? Or is it just her
I didn't
and
even
Elijah
know there was
Wood?
a second one.
I thought there was a second one.
I never saw the first one, but I did know that he got stung by a bee and died. It was just in the ether that Culk died.
Yeah. No one wanted to see. No one was ready for that.
No,
That's
not
right.
at all.
Yeah.
At about 6 p.m. on May 2nd, 1878, the mill's large day shift staff had completed their work for the day, and the 14-man night shift staff had arrived. At around 7 p.m., 3 large explosions occurred within several seconds of each other inside the mill, killing the 14 employees inside. The explosions launched debris several hundred feet into the air, with some large granite debris found 8 city blocks from the mill. The sound...
It's one hell of an explosion.
8 city blocks, yeah.
I mean, even if it's dust, to throw something 8 city blocks, that's
powerful flour.
That's flower power.
The sound of the explosion was heard as far away as St. Paul, 10 miles away, while some people in Minneapolis who had felt the blast thought it had been an earthquake. The explosion spawned a massive fire that spread to 2 adjacent mills, the Diamond and Humboldt mills, causing both of them to also explode. Whoa.
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of the Great Chicago Fire when there were fire tornadoes tearing through the city.
I can't imagine. I mean, I'm just looking outside your window and just imagine seeing a tornado fire. Seeing a fire already would be scary enough, and I know that kind of stuff does happen around here.
Yeah.
But to see a tornado fire
oh, yeah.
like coming up the hill, like
yeah, it would just be
terrifying.
like, well, I mean, how do I defend myself against this?
Right. Just a big fan, one of those big
fan. You fight a wind fire with
fight
a
fire
a
with
big,
fan,
a
as
big
the
fan?
saying goes. You fight
Okay.
fire with fan.
The intensity of the heat from the blaze hindered firefighting activities as firefighters could not get close to the buildings, and they also did not have a big enough fan.
Yep, told you.
The following day, the Minneapolis Tribune reported on the disaster saying, quote unquote, Minneapolis has met with a calamity, the sadness and horror of which is difficult for the mind to comprehend. Well, try wrapping your head around a tornado fire. In total, 6 mills were destroyed. As part of an investigation into the cause of the disaster, mill manager John A. Christian stated that it had been a dust explosion caused by flour dust in the building. I just don't
doesn't
understand
explain it still.
I don't understand
Like
it.
the cause still does not.
Yeah,
I still can't connect the dots.
they're
with
like,
the cause.
did you not have the feather dusters going? Which also, have you ever used a feather duster?
I mean, doesn't that just spread the dust?
That's what
into
I try
more
to say to
places?
White Bones. White Bones has a feather duster, and sometimes she goes around feather dusting, and I'm like, you're
Now-
just flinging dust around.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the actual use of the feather duster is to feather dust the things onto the ground, so then you vacuum.
I don't subscribe to this whole dust then vacuum idea because, well, if you're just dusting to push it onto the floor, you're also pushing it in the air and it's floating around.
But
then
it
what?
settles.
You gotta,
It settles.
You got to vacuum the air then.
It settles. You don't go
How
straight.
long are you waiting for this process to take place?
You go grab yourself a sandwich, okay?
I can't.
Come back and finish your chore.
Just get some pledge involved.
Are you the same person that doesn't? Are you the person that does not rinse your dishes? You go straight from like a bunch of shit on your dishes, like gobbed up ketchup and all this stuff, and
Don't
then
be
you just put it
ridiculous,
straight
Jheisson.
to the dishwasher?
I hate people that act like there is a garbage disposal in the dishwasher.
Right. I hate
Right.
that as well.
There's no garbage disposal in there. You got to do a little pre-clean.
Yeah, pretty cool. So that's all you got to do. The dusting, the feathered duster,
Yeah.
is the pre-cleaning to the cleaning.
You gotta get liquid involved. Okay. They concluded, where are we here? 2 professors from the University of Minnesota, S.F. Peckham and Lewis W. Peck. They later confirmed that abundant flour dust had been the cause of the explosion after reviewing controlled experiments regarding flour dust combustion. They concluded that 2 dry millstones had rubbed against each other and caused a spark that ignited the dust, causing the explosion. But why?
Because you gotta get things wet, or else friction happens.
Well, sparks definitely
Where
happen.
there's friction, there's fire.
Following the event, there were concerns about the effect it would have on the city's milling industry, as the disaster had destroyed roughly 1/3 to 1/2 of the city's flour productive capacity. Shortly after the explosion, Washburn...
So wait, it affected their capacity to make more flour.
Correct. I mean, it was the economy.
Right, not their inventory of flour.
Well, I have a funny feeling the inventory went up in smoke.
True.
Yeah. I think they were keeping that there. Anyway, they built a new building in 1880 on the site of the former one. The new mill, which was later known as the Gold Medal Flour Mill, also was affected by fire in 1928. You know Gold Medal Flour, right?
The brand. Yeah, it's got a little like gold medal, like in a ribbon or something like that. Right?
I think it's wheat, maybe.
Yes.
Oh, and here you go. According to General Mills, the eventual successor company of the mill, the disaster prompted Washburn to take an interest in the welfare of the children of the mill workers who had been affected, leading to the creation of the Washburn Memorial Orphan Asylum. The successor organization to anyway, blah, blah, blah. Minneapolis is known for flour. Do you want to go to dust explosion?
Yeah. How does that happen?
We can always come back.
You get too sciencey?
Yeah, I don't want to get too sciencey.
You don't want to go full science.
A dust explosion is the rapid combustion of fine particles suspended in the air within an enclosed location. Dust explosions can occur when any dispersed powdered combustible material is present in high enough concentrations in the atmosphere or other oxidizing gaseous medium such as pure oxygen. In cases when fuel plays the role of a combustible material, the explosion is known as a fuel air explosion. This just makes me think LeBron better be careful with his pregame warm-up when he's always throwing the dust in the air.
And he slaps his hands.
Yeah, he could get a little friction.
He can spontaneously combust.
And then, oh man, LeBron catches fire on the court.
I mean, he does usually, right?
Not in this way.
Right.
Dust explosions are a frequent hazard in coal mines, grain elevators, and other industrial environments. They are commonly used by special effects artists, filmmakers, and pyrotechnicians, given their spectacular appearance and ability to be safely contained under certain carefully controlled conditions. Thermobaric weapons exploit this principle by rapidly saturating an area with an easily combustible material and then igniting it to produce explosive force. These weapons are the most powerful non-nuclear weapons in existence. Dust explosion weapons. Whew. All right, do you want to move on?
So nuclear and then dust.
Dust. Damn. Yeah, you get the feather duster going on a whole country. You have spies go in first with the feather dusters. They just dust. And then you just light a match.
It's funny because the nuclear bomb will turn you into dust, and then that dust...
Oh, just in case.
Just in case there's any survivors, your, pulverized body in powder form will kill the person, your loved ones, if there are any left.
Yes, you get to become a weapon.
Right.
Wow.
A cycle of life. The cycle of the Second Amendment.
Okay, so where do you want to go here, Jheisson? We could go back to the original article.
But can we go forward? Is there anything?
We could go back down to notable incidences. And, of course, there's the Great Mill disaster. But maybe, where are we trying to get for the gasser? We didn't read anything about the Mad Gasser.
Illinois.
Mattoon, Illinois, and gas attacks.
We did forget to read a little bit about...
Oh, we are in weapons. I mean, we could get to gas attacks somehow. What are gas attacks?
Like a Dutch oven?
You're making me hungry.
Already?
Oh, yeah. Help me out here, Jheisson. What's a gas attack?
I mean, I thought it was like a terrorist attack, so it's got to be maybe like under, what was anthrax labeled under? Like
anthrax.
biochemical?
That was a dust.
That was a dust.
Sorry, something caught my eye here. Getting back to us creating
Reel
a
her
dust
in.
explosion.
Reel that eye in.
In special effects pyrotechnics, non-dairy creamer are one of the common means of producing safe, controlled fire effects. I gotta try this.
The creamer?
Well, lighting it on fire.
Oh. It's like I gotta throw this in my coffee.
Oh, man, coffee can also cause dust explosions.
Inside of your body?
Some mornings. In addition, many otherwise mundane organic materials can also be dispersed into a dangerous dust cloud, such as grain, flour, starch, sugar, powdered milk, cocoa, coffee, and pollen. So, yeah, you better watch out for the hot cocoa.
Powdered milk? I imagine you become a mad gasser after drinking powdered milk. Like, what is wrong with you?
For sure.
Just fucking stop drinking milk and stop the powder of it. All sorts of bad. Yeah, how are we not there yet? That's definitely a mad gasser type of...
Well, do you want to go to... I see explosions... Thermobaric weapons, that could get to
different types of weapons.
War,
right.
And I know World War I, they did a lot of gassing.
Yes.
Of people.
Mustard. I love mustard, too.
Oh, a good mutard?
It really gave mustard a bad name. Yeah.
Because of the gassing.
Yeah.
Because of the murdering of people.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to go to thermobaric weapons and see
Let's
if we
try it
can
out.
get
It seems
to...
like some heat radar kind of thing or something, right?
I don't know. This looks like...
Oh,
this
does that mean
photo-
just weapons that you would be able to see on a heat sensor radar?
I'll tell you. A thermobaric weapon, also called an aerosol bomb, a vacuum bomb, or a fuel-air explosive, is a type of explosive that uses oxygen from the surrounding air to generate a high-temperature explosion. The fuel-air explosion is one of the best-known types of thermobaric weapons. Okay, so we could go down to development. I do see German developments. So maybe, or we could go down to history, and maybe they were using these in World War I, but I'd be surprised.
A lot of gas in history. What,
right?
Using what, these? Or
these.
These things?
Maybe, I don't know. Let's go down to history.
I can only guess, right? Because they have it on there.
But they might not have developed it. Oh, here you go. FAEs, such as first-generation CBU-55 fuel-air weapons, saw extensive use in the Vietnam War. A second generation of FAE weapons were based on those and were used by the United States and Iraq during Operation Desert Storm. So they're pretty new to the battlefield, it sounds like. Let's go further up to German developments. This is good news, Jheisson, because I see First World War here.
Ooh.
The first attempts to... Let me try that again.
Hey, breathe in. Breathe in. And don't breathe out.
The first attempts occurred during the First World War when incendiary shells used a slow but intense burning material such as tar-impregnated tissue and gunpowder dust. These shells burned for approximately 2 minutes after the shell exploded and spread the burning elements in every direction. I feel like those early bombs, it kind of felt like they got teenagers together and they were like, look, all this stuff explodes. Make it the worst you can.
I mean, they're the ones that are like wild enough to come up with these and try these crazy ideas.
Teenagers?
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Or like even slightly younger, like young teens, like 13.
Yeah.
When you're hitting your first little fire stage, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe 11.
Was
10.
that your first fire stage? Yeah, I was going to say mine was like 11 when I really wanted to burn things down. Oh, yeah.
Yeah? You wanted to burn things down?
Yeah. Before 13? Oh, yeah. Would love to see anything go down.
Yeah, I think my grandfather taught me how to make a fire probably when I was about 7.
Like a cool fire, like a healthy, normal fire pit fire or
Right.
barbecue.
He did the not pyramid, the teepee style.
Cool.
Where you put some newspaper and then you put sticks up and you just light the newspaper and it all goes up.
Classic, yeah.
Classic. But it really got me into fire.
Yeah, especially, okay, see, I feel like this is a lot of fathers and uncles' mistake. I feel like burning newspaper looks a little bit extra cool than just a regular fire. Because it just turns all these different colors, a little green from the ink.
Okay.
And then also, not only that, but watching a newspaper burn is oddly satisfying. Like, it's not just like a fire.
Because it kind of crumbles and manipulates.
You see the life being taken away from it.
From the newspaper.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? So it's like, so that to show that to a kid at such a young age.
Yeah.
They're just like, fire.
I feel like my fire phase was right in conjunction with my knife phase.
Oh, I went through a knife phase too.
How could you
Honestly,
not? Of course
I'm going
you did.
through both again. Yeah.
Really?
I'm going to reboot it. The expensive knives are
Mhm.
like way safer than the cheap ones because the cheap ones are going to like for sure fall apart or cut you up. Like I had one. I had a cheap one and not, I could just tell. I played with it for like a couple of days. Afterwards, I was like, you know what?
Starts shaking a little bit.
This
It's
is
a little flimsy.
This isn't going to be any good for anybody.
Yeah, I better try burning this.
Yeah. You can.
I'm going to want to wrap this in newspaper and light it on fire. And also soak it in gasoline.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and then when I learned about the little squeeze oil for...
Oh, I was a WD-40 man myself.
Oh, no, I can't
With the lighter
with
and
the
the
spray?
WD-40? Yeah.
I did the Banaka. Did you ever do the Banaka at school?
Yeah, did the
With the-
banana.
with the
Not at
lighter,
school.
with the
I did
lighter.
all my firing outside of school.
Oh, no. I treated it like work. If like I'm going to get paid for it. If I'm going to do these crimes, I better
You're
get paid.
educating
I'm
yourself.
I'm going to be on school's time. But
Okay.
I definitely did the Banaka
Yeah.
with the fire.
All right, we are on the German developments. The first attempts occurred during the First World War. Do you want to go to World War I, First World War, and get to gas attacks?
Yeah.
Now, I believe the Mad Gasser, it was in the 1940s, so that's World War II era, but, we're getting there. I think, God,
You're saying he caught on to the trend early or what about the gassing?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know how we're going to find mustard gas in this article, because I imagine World War I is a huge article.
Was mustard gas introduced in World War I or was that...
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
World War I. All right, I see here technology, and I also see, though, aftermath and health effects. I feel like health effects would be there with the mustard gas. So
Okay.
I'm going down to health effects. Of the 60 million European military personnel who were mobilized from 1914 to 1918, 8 million were killed, 7 million were permanently disabled, and 15 million were seriously injured. Germany lost 15.1% of its active male population, Austria-Hungary lost 17.1%, and France lost 10.5%. France mobilized 7.8 million men, of which 1.4 million died and 3.2 million were injured. Disease flourished in the chaotic wartime conditions. In 1914 alone, louse-borne epidemic typhus killed 200,000 in Serbia. Oh, and of course, starting in early 1918, a major influenza epidemic known as the Spanish flu spread around the world.
The classic, the Big Daddy.
Big Daddy Flu.
OG.
We have a whole episode on the Spanish flu. We don't need to go into that. World War I began as a clash of 20th century technology and 19th century tactics. By the end of 1917, however, the major armies, now numbering millions of men, had modernized and were making use of telephone, wireless communication, armored cars, tanks, and aircraft. Come on, where's the gas, though? There's got to be gas.
Do you smell it?
Oh, geez, look at this quote. Gas, gas, quick, boys.
It's everywhere. Mustard.
Yeah. Artillery was responsible for the largest number of casualties and consumed vast quantities of explosions. The large number of head wounds caused by exploding shells and fragmentation forced the combatant nations to develop the modern steel helmet. So they just weren't wearing helmets before World War One?
Yeah, I'm sure
That's
a leather helmet
crazy.
is like not doing anything.
Yeah.
So like, what's the point of wearing? I'm just fucking getting hot over here.
The French introduced the Adrian helmet in 1950, and I'm going to quickly click on that. Okay, so that's it's a little stylish.
Yeah.
Compared to the ones you see with World War II.
I like a little faux hawk in there.
Okay, I went down a little further. The widespread use of chemical warfare was a distinguishing feature of the conflict. Gases used include chlorine, mustard gas, and phosgene. No way I'm pronouncing that right. It could be phogene. Phogene?
You're phoging with it.
I love Vietnamese. Relatively few...
So it's probably pho.
Phogene, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Relatively few war casualties were caused by gas, as effective countermeasures to gas attacks were quickly created, such as gas masks. So do you want to go to chemical warfare, or we could go to mustard gas, but I feel like mustard gas might take us...
I think like the chemical warfare makes sense.
Or gas masks. It's broad. Chemical warfare involves the toxic properties of chemical substances as weapons. Yeah. This type of warfare is distinct from nuclear warfare, biological warfare, and radiological warfare, which together make up CBRN. I don't know what that means. The military acronym for nuclear, biological, and chemical. I know what that means now.
Right. So it's not biological, right? It's chemical. The one that we're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are all considered weapons of mass destruction. WMDs, a term that contrasts with conventional weapons. The use of chemical weapons is prohibited under customary international humanitarian law. Huh.
That's just like an
but
unwritten rule?
I think it's written in humanitarian law, but like what dictators like...
Hey, let's check that humanitarian law real quick before we start invading.
I want to control everyone, but I'm a rule follower. On November 25th, 1969, President Richard Nixon unilaterally renounced the offensive use of biological and toxic weapons, but the U.S. continued to maintain an offensive chemical weapons program, just in case.
Yeah, you never know.
From May 1964 to the early 1970s, the U.S. participated in Operation Chase, a United States Department of Defense program that aimed to dispose of chemical weapons by sinking ships laden with the weapons in the deep Atlantic. After the Marine Protection Research and Sanctuaries Act of 1972, Operation Chase was scrapped, and we probably just did it at night. Safer disposal methods for chemical weapons were researched, with the U.S. destroying several thousand tons of sulfur mustard by incineration at Rocky Mountain Arsenal and nearly 4,200 tons of nerve agent by chemical somewhere else. Oh, we could go to weapons of mass destruction and terrorism, maybe.
I called it terrorism. I don't know that back then it was called that, or just the way I never saw that word when I was reading the article. Okay. So we should try to go to gases. That's way closer to...
All right, let's go.
It's literally called Gasser. The Mad Gasser.
He is the Mad Gasser. What a name. Why'd they have to give him such a cool name?
Is it?
I mean, it sounds like he was like farting at a pizza restaurant.
Right.
All right, so what did I say? List of highly toxic gases?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Many gases have toxic properties, which are often assessed using the LC50, which is the median lethal dose measure. In the United States, many of these gases have been assigned as NFPA 704 health rating of 4.
Is that good or bad?
That means it may be fatal.
Shit.
So bad. I'll say bad. Or 3, which may cause serious or permanent injury.
Wait. So it gets worse as it goes down?
No, it gets worse as it goes up. So 4 may be fatal, 3 may cause serious or permanent injury, but you'll live.
Okay, but it goes up to 5?
You'll be disfigured. I don't know. I assume death. I assume maybe fatal means you might live, though. Maybe livable. Whereas 5, definitely not livable.
Call it. Let's call it.
Call it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, now I just have a list of gases here, Jason. This is trouble.
Do we see where any of them originated from?
We could go. Okay. We could go to chemical weapon or poison gas. All right, so I'm on chemical weapon now. Chemical weapon is a specialized mutation that uses chemicals formulated to inflict death or harm on humans, according to the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, the OPCW. This can be any chemical compound intended as a weapon or its precursor that can cause death, injury, temporary incapacitation, or sensory irritation through its chemical actions.
Best chemical weapon in the movies?
Yeah?
The Rock.
The Rock,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
The green balls.
Yeah. That was so cool. And haunting. Like that first opening scene
Yeah.
still haunts me till this day.
What's the first opening
It's not like,
scene?
I don't find it scary, but I remember finding it scary. Where they go get the VX poison gas, and then one of the guys like gets he drops the ball. Literally.
Oh, he gets gas.
He gets gas, and so they have to close the door right away before they get all of the rockets out or all of the whatever VX poison gas. And one guy stays behind, and his skin immediately like turns inside out.
Inside out.
Yeah, imagine being like 10 years old and just watching that first opening scene. Just like, holy shit.
You're like, I thought burning newspaper was cool.
Yeah.
I gotta get my hands on one of these
On that
gas
VX poison
balls.
gas, yeah.
During World War II, the Nazi regime used a commercial hydrogen cyanide blood agent trade named Zyklon B to commit industrialized genocide against Jews and other targeted populations in large gas chambers.
Jeez, they got the Cyclone Beat 3000?
Yep. As of 2016, CS gas and pepper spray remain in common use for policing and riot control. Okay, so I wonder... So we could go to nerve gas. I mean, we're really just like
Nerve gas
circling the
might be a
wagons
thing. Yeah, except
on
nerve
gas here. It's got to be in here. Simple chemical weapons were used sporadically throughout antiquity and into the industrial age. It was not until the 19th century that the modern conception of chemical warfare emerged, as various scientists and nations proposed the use of asphyxiating or poisonous gases. So alarmed were nations that multiple international treaties discussed below were passed. This, however, did not prevent the extensive use of chemical weapons in World War I. The development of chlorine gas, among others, was used by both sides to try to break the stalemate of trench warfare.
It propelled it, if anything.
I mean, if you're using it on me, all bets are off.
If you're using it on you?
Yeah, if somebody's using gas on me,
yeah.
I'm going to gas back if I have gas.
Gotta gas back.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to tell you, Kyle, my timer is vibrating.
Oh, okay.
Meaning
so
our 50 minutes
we got to wrap this up.
are done here. Meaning it's about wrap up.
Well, we need to hurry the hell up here. Okay. Terrorist group, blah, 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 blah. The post-war era has seen limited, though devastating, use of chemical weapons. Some 100,000 Iranian troops were casualties of the Iraqi chemical weapons during the Iran-Iraq War. Iraq used mustard gas and nerve agents against its own civilians in the 1988 Halabja chemical attack. See also chemical terrorism.
The reason why I don't think it's a terrorist thing is because the mad gaster was like attacking individuals.
So it was
Not
more
a
serial.
Right, rather than a mass attack on a group of people in a public place.
I see.
But by all means, let's...
Well, hopefully it's under C also here. Chemical terrorism is the form of terrorism that uses the toxic effects of chemicals to kill, injure, or otherwise adversely affect the interests of its targets. It can broadly be considered a form of chemical warfare. I don't think it's in here because the incidents are in Sri Lanka, Israel, Japan, Al-Qaeda, Iraq, and Syria. Well, we're just circling the wagons here on gas attacks, and I'm struggling, Jason. This is 2 episodes in a row that we're like straight up stymied by Wikipedia.
We're getting real bullied here. We're getting real manhandled by Wikipedia.
Mm.
What's going on, Professor? You're supposed to be doing the manhandling.
I do the flogging. I don't do the manhandling.
I'll let you call it TOD.
What's TOD?
Time of death.
Oh no, we still got to talk about the Mad Gasser, or we could pick up next episode. We could start with the Mad Gasser.
I mean, that could work out because we didn't talk too much about the Mad Gasser.
Yeah, we don't know anything about the Mad Gasser.
Yeah, we don't even know if we're on the right track. We don't even know if it was just one or a party or there's other theories out there.
Yeah.
So I guess you'd have to join us.
So you're TODing it?
I'm TODing it.
Oh, you're TODing it? All right.
I have the watch.
All right. Time of death. Whatever time it is. We didn't get to the Mad Gasser. I'm pretty bummed.
He's a little bummed, but I tell you what, we're gonna pick things up, I feel like, and we're gonna get to the Mad Gasser.
In fact, I'm gonna say we spent too much time just talking about chemical warfare.
I mean, that's like in the same lane, I would say, or adjacent lane as the Mad Gasser or some sort of gas weaponry.
True.
We can't, I don't fault this at all. We did what we could.
Well, you sound a little bummed yourself, Jheisson.
I mean, of course, we didn't accomplish our task. That's an F for the day for me, as far as I know.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, we showed our work.
Yes, but the work was sloppy.
Oh, ouch. All right, well, hey, that's the episode. Next episode, we're going to pick up at the Mad Gasser of Mattoon.
I say we catch up, yeah.
Sounds good.
Don't miss on the next one, guys. And just another reminder to rate and review us on Apple Podcast and Spotify.
Until next episode, bye.